Welcome, Cinephiles, to another episode of Frame by Frame, a series dedicated to the craft of filmmaking. Today, I can throw a rock at a marquee and hit the title of some found footage horror film. Now, I get why they exist. Found footage films are cheap to make and horror movies turn profits. You know, even if they're shit. But what I don't get is why so many people seem to think that this is a new genre. It didn't begin as a byproduct of online video, and it certainly didn't start with the Blair Witch Project. Instead, it began with another film, a picture so controversial that its creator was actually charged with murder after its release. Yeah, so pack up your camcorders, kids. We're heading back to 1962 to find the movie behind found footage horror films. The bloodline of the found footage genre began with the Mondo films of the 1960s. These flicks, produced primarily in Italy, were pseudo-documentaries that focused on taboo subjects. You know, sex, death, sex with dead things. Some scenes were staged, some weren't, but the movement began with the 1962 Italian film Mondo Cane. Described as the first shockumentary, the film is a collage of disturbing rituals from around the globe. There's manhunts in the Solomon Islands, animal cruelty in Malaysia, and bikini-clad girls on the Riviera. It's like watching a travel show on acid. Trash or not, though, the film was a commercial success. As is often the case, a slew of rip-offs soon followed. These pseudo-documentaries crammed the word Mondo into their titles to cash in on their forerunner's success. You had Mondo Topless, La Donna Nel Mondo, 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 Mondo. Sure, these films were sleazy, we get it, but the Italians decided to up the ante in the 70s with a new strain of Mondo. The cannibal film.
No jungle revenge is complete without a little cannibalism for dessert.
Yeah, they were pretty gross. The subgenre began with the 1972 film The Man from Deep River. Now, the plot of your typical cannibal film was simple. Foreigners make contact with a primitive tribe in a remote jungle. Foreigners piss off tribe. Tribe kill and eat foreigners. And we're left to wonder who the real savages are, the cannibals or the psychopaths who actually make movies like these. The stories may have been simple, but the violence was extreme, and the gore only escalated with each passing year. By the late 70s, Italian filmmakers were churning out these stomach-churning films so quickly it became known as the cannibal boom. A rampage that would come to a bloody end with Ruggero Deodato's 1980 shocker, Cannibal Holocaust. It focuses on the disappearance of a film crew that went missing while making a documentary on cannibal tribes in the Amazon. A rescue mission led by anthropologist Harold Monroe recovers the crew's undeveloped film cans. Back in New York, Monroe sifts through the footage. In it, he finds the truth of what happened, and boy, is it horrific. Yeah, I know it's not that bad, but just trust me, there's stuff in this movie that's so disgusting I couldn't possibly show you here. For that same reason, Monroe deems the footage too appalling to air. The television execs that own the film, however, have a greater concern: ratings.
Let's be realistic. Who knows anything about the Yakumo civilization? Today, people want sensationalism. The more you rape their senses, the happier they are.
Sure, Cannibal Holocaust is just a movie. Just a movie filled with gruesome murder, rape, and actual animal mutilation. Indecent or not, though, Deodato's film was an achievement. Here was a movie so realistic that it actually erased the line between fact and fiction. So much so that 10 days after its Italian premiere, Cannibal Holocaust was confiscated by the local magistrate. Deodato? Well, he was arrested and charged with obscenity. His film, though, was free to roam all the way to France. That is until a writer at the French magazine Photo made a sensational claim that several of the on-screen killings were real. The charges against Deodato were amended, this time to include murder. The world then demanded to know if images like these were fake or the grisly aftermath of something far worse than exploitation.
Watch it, Alan, I'm shooting. Oh, good Lord!
Deodato had to explain that this was, in fact, a special effect. The girl was actually sitting on a bicycle seat attached to an iron pole. She held a piece of balsa wood in her mouth and turned her eyes to the sky. Other actors, also thought dead, showed up for interviews on Italian television to prove Deodato's innocence. Because of all this, the murder charges were eventually dropped. Yet Deodato and several others involved with the film were convicted of animal cruelty and obscenity. Each received a 4-month suspended sentence, a slap on the wrist. The film, however, was banned in dozens of countries. Even still, it allegedly grossed almost $200 million within 10 days of its release. You see, outside of Italy, the general public wasn't familiar with the cannibal genre. Collective curiosity got asses into seats. Scenes like these, though, kept them from coming back. You see, the world had seen enough of Cannibal Holocaust and the tasteless genre it represented. Without an audience, the movement lost momentum, eventually ending with the 1988 film Green Inferno. By the 90s, the cannibal genre had all but disappeared back into the dark jungles of human imagination. So let's fast forward to 1998. Stefan Avalos and Lance Weiler released their film, The Last Broadcast. It was a horror film with a plot you might call familiar. A narrator with a voice like Valium analyzes disturbing found footage. Turns out a television crew looking for the Jersey Devil wandered into the Pine Barrens. As you can imagine, several crew members returned in several pieces. How they died is debated throughout a series of present-day interviews.
Suddenly they want to jump into doing big time live, from the Pine Barrens and have radio and internet and this and that. And, I knew it was going to be a fiasco. I didn't really think it was going to end up like it did, but I knew it wasn't going to look pretty.
Unfortunately for its creators, though, The Last Broadcast signal was soon drowned out by another film, The Blair Witch Project.
I'm so scared.
Here was a found footage creep show documenting the last moments of a missing film crew. It was marketed as real. The angle worked, the film made a gazillion bucks, and hopefully, just hopefully, this chick could finally afford to buy herself some goddamn Kleenex. But look closer at what you're watching. Almost all of these films concern filmmakers who disappeared under mysterious circumstances. Their stories are often told using found footage, often intercut with present-day commentary. From a technical standpoint, these movies mimic documentary filmmaking with shaky camera work, unknown actors, and improvisation. Each franchise maintaining one lie, that everything you're about to see is real.
Who is that?
Well, the reality is Cannibal Holocaust came up with all of these techniques. It was made long before The Blair Witch, long before The Last Broadcast. Without it, the found footage genre as we know it wouldn't even exist. But Cannibal Holocaust was more than a trendsetter. It was a warning, a signpost at the edge of cinema's wilderness, left to remind future filmmakers that there is such a thing as going too far. With all this talk of scary movies, it's easy to draw a parallel between these films and this month's Loot Crate theme, horror, a spine-tingling celebration of cinema's most gruesome genre. Now only you can save your life in the event of a monster attack, but Loot Crate can save you money on some fantastic merchandise, if in fact you make it back alive. But what is Loot Crate? Well, it's a monthly subscription service that delivers a crate like this one to your door every month. Similar to September's Speed Crate shown here, each box contains pop culture inspired gadgets and gear, a $40 value for less than $20 a month. All you need to do is sign up by the October 19th cutoff at 9 p.m. Pacific to get your loot. So if you'd like to join, follow the URL on screen and enter the code FRAME to save 10% on your subscription. Then, when you hear the mailman knock, just keep telling yourself, it's only my crate, it's only my crate, it's only my crate. Thank you for watching, ladies and gentlemen, and make sure to subscribe to this channel, Film Theory, for more fantastic film-related content. If you'd like to check out more Frame by Frame, click the frame to the left to watch an episode on Japanese horror films. Or if you'd like to check out a Film Theory episode on the Blair Witch Project, click the frame to the right. And until next time, my name is Kyle, and this has been Frame by Frame.